see how we get through a few random courses tonight. Spent the afternoon at the cigar lounge. Got a few spare hours tonight. Oh, figured I'd just run through a few random courses. I think we'll just play kind of whatever it lands on, as long as it's not something too old. All right, I haven't played Nord in a while. I don't know what the weather's been like for everybody else, but it has been freezing cold here in Michigan. I think we're supposed to hit 20 maybe on Sunday. That'll be something. Starting with a Middle West rye whiskey, dark pumpernickel. This is a pick from the Bourbon Judge group that I'm in. So shout out to Marcus for picking this one. Really, really good rye whiskey. Very unique, even for people who don't like rye. It's like tends to be a crowd pleaser. All right, Nord hole one. Looks like we got the super long look here. Oftentimes there's a play all the way up to where you can get a chip. I'm actually just gonna play this one back, not get, not make it too complicated. This course is pretty straightforward, not a ton to it. Mm, and that's good. This is one I'm gonna be sad when the bottle's gone, for sure. They knocked it out of the park with this pick. So dry here, I feel like my hands don't really have any grip, but it'll take care of itself in a few holes, I guess. All right, number three. This is one pretty easy. This is one you're thinking about making. I'm just gonna try and land it behind the hole. Account for the wind here. See if we can't backspin it in. All right, didn't play enough wind. My dog Oliver keeping me company while I'm playing tonight. He's just coming off the back of a weird health thing. If you ever have heard of trigeminal neuralgia for dogs, it is a true hellscape. But after about 2 weeks, he's doing better, so that's good. All right, don't have the drivable look here, so we're just gonna play it up. Give ourselves a look for our second shot. Okay, similar to the last hole. Uphill, we're gonna get a good amount of spin, less wind, so we can just kind of push this one a little out to the right, and hopefully comes back. All right, not quite dialed in yet. No big deal. The chat here, just in case anyone's watching. Feel free to drop in course recommendations or anything else. Can do whatever. Wishing I was in Orlando tonight. They've got the PGT event there. Can't make it to all of them. And this is one that I had to miss, or I chose to miss, I guess. But they're so much fun. I really wish I was there. Wishing good luck to everybody playing. I think tonight will be the doubles handicap tournament and the doubles. And tomorrow is the big day where they do their qualifying. Once they release that code, I'll probably do a cycle, see how I would have done. Of course, without the tournament pressure. All right, here we go. So this one's downhill. Think into the wind. The wind's gonna play a little bit more. Try to be a little aggressive with this. This might be a little too much. Not terrible. All right. Slowly just want to make sure you get not in the snow on that second fairway. It's really all that matters here. All right. Pin being all the way on the right, wind going from the right to left. Not the most inviting look. So you can either be aggressive with it or you can just kind of play to the middle and take your putt. Let's kind of cut it back in a little. Meant to put backspin on that, forgot. No harm, no foul. Okay. Pretty easy look on this hole. This one can play a bit harder. Um, but this one we can just kind of go over everything and get back to where the pin is. Um, slope's going to help us counteract the wind. So just kind of try to get this working somewhere toward the right side of the pin. Pretty safe. Not very good, but good enough. Super downhill, hole nine. I kind of hate. I really don't enjoy hitting gap wedge from these kind of shots because it just feels uncontrollable. But at this point, I don't think there's a huge lot of other options. So we're just gonna play this, give it a ton of wind with the gap wedge, with the downhill. It's gonna play a lot of wind. Give it plenty of room out to the left to come back. Not bad. This one's 127 proof, but it really doesn't drink anything like that. It's so unlike anything I've ever tried. Out of Middle West Spirits out of Columbus, Ohio. I've had stuff I've liked from them, like this, stuff I haven't enjoyed so much. They're kind of a crafty distillery, which was hit or miss for me, but this one is a hit. All right, let's see if we can give ourselves a good look on the second shot here. Uphill, so you got to hit it harder than you think. The wind's not going to do as much as it would on a flat shot. I think we can be kind of aggressive with this. Just put it out back left. Oh, good, good try. Very similar to the hole we had a couple ago. Got a lot of wind to deal with. Elevation. This is one where you can look stupid in a hurry if you don't guess all those, or if you don't calculate all those things correctly. So, let's see. Go low 9 iron, just see how that turns out. Not bad. So far, so good. Clean through what is that, 11 holes? It's been a pretty easy setup though. Could have been a lot. It can be a lot harder on this course. All right, this is one we're gonna try and make. Eventually, the hole's got to get in the way. So uphill means we got to hit it a little harder, but we've got a helping wind. So we're just gonna try and land it just behind the hole. See if it'll come back. That was way too hard. What did I must have hit the wrong spin or not spin. I'm not sure what I did there. Anyway, some sort of mental error. Now I've got to make this chip. 8 iron for me is about 4 yards per click. So we'll do this 6 clicks. Just a hair left. All right. There's our first mistake, and it's completely unforced. That was just a mental error. That happens. Just got to make it up somewhere else. Okay, we've got the drivable look here on 13. Um, you just have to make sure you get it there. Obviously, anything short, it's gonna hit that ice face and just bounce back. Um, what I'm trying to figure out here is if I can get away with a 10.5, that'll go far enough because that'll give me a little bit more spin. 8.5 definitely gets there, but it's just that first bounce is going to be aggressive. Let's find out. I'll try the 10.5. Got to hit it pretty good. Hit it clean, so now we just find out just enough. All right. This is a weird look. I don't played these courses and some of these courses in so long. I don't remember all these looks, but this is an odd one. So we've got between 9 and 6 wood. 9 goes a little further than you think. 6 goes a little shorter than you think. We've got the downwind. Green slightly sloping away, slightly elevated. I think I'm just not going to be super aggressive with this. Just try to get a good putt. Say that and then almost make it. Shows what I know. Okay, another drivable look, I think. Hole 15, downhill, into the wind. That helps us. Since it's sloping away from us, it's going to give us a little bit more spin. Not going to come in quite as hot. No elevation issues to worry about in terms of getting over anything. So I think this is just green light special. give it a shot. All right. Man, these are weird looks. I just don't remember. So normally, a lot of times you play this, the T is like somewhere over where the cursor is here, and it's this weird little like chip down. I actually like this look better, but I'm not instantly familiar with what I'm supposed to do. All right, we got downwind, uphill, green, so that's good, but sloping hard left to right. So anything that's not far enough left is going to roll right off into the whatever that is, frozen river or something. So I think we'll just try to get this somewhere safely up on the left side of the green. Boy, that wasn't as safe as I thought it might be. On these, yes, on this one, I'm gonna chip this. Probably still miss it, but but I definitely would miss the putt. That right nine off the fringe is gonna play way more than nine, and I don't even know if you could get it far enough out to the left. All right, stuck it in the corner. Got away with that one. Okay, so we're still one over going into 17. Hopefully we can find a hole out here. Not a terrible look. Got downhill green, sloping right, wind is pushing right, so everything is going to go hard that way. If I were, I'm gonna try to be aggressive with this, but if I was just trying to hit the green, I'd probably play something over here and curve it back in. Since I want to try to make this, and I'm not playing for anything, I'm going to do something that might be kind of dumb. Okay. This is our last chance to get back to even par. And we've got a significantly downhill into the wind, so the wind's going to play more than you think. Uphill, once it lands on the green, it's going to want to come back toward you and pushing a little left. So, yep, I didn't get it. So we can at least make our putt for a one over. Okay, so be it. Pearl Lagoon. Yeah, let's try it. So I've never played this course on this machine, at least. I don't know if I've ever played it at all. We'll find out. All right, so bag. I got my regular bag. I think that should be good enough. So hole one principles always apply, but in this case, we really can't straighten out the wind because the wind's going straight right to left. So we're just gonna try and get up there on the right side of the fairway. Okay, let's see what our punch option. So this punch option looks pretty good to me. Punch comes out lower, doesn't take as much wind. It's a really good approach option when you don't have anything that you have to get over in front of you. So I'll just hit this with a little, I think I'll actually hit it with a roll. I'm just gonna try to push this just a hair right. Not quite enough right. Those are kind of the shots that I really need to focus on for if I want to get better at this game. Those are shots that the elite players are making more often than not. So I'm giving up one when I'm not making those. Um, but all right, way downhill. It's gonna spin a lot. It's gonna take a lot of wind. I think if I just hit this kind of straight backspin, push that left. That was a really bad shot. Holy moly. If I were you, I'd unsubscribe. That was trash. All right. Okay. So now we got to find two strokes. That was a two-stroke mistake that was mind-boggling. All right. Downhill, into the wind. Almost found one there. Oliver does not like it when he's not the center of attention. Can't can't deal with it. Very neglected dog. All right. This hole looks like we're just gonna try and get around the corner if we can. Give ourselves a shot. One second. Second shot. Keep going. Keep going. All right, we're gonna have to curve something. That's okay though. Maybe not. Six wood. We've got enough room. Got enough room right to just push this right and let it come back. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if I've ever played this course. If I have, I don't remember it. So it looks like we've got either this gap through the right, or we've got the cut around from the left. I don't like that shot, so I'm gonna go this way. I think it's just kind of a baby cut. Push it out, hit the tree, solid. This could be a real nasty round. If you're someone who likes to watch NASCAR for the crashes, that might be what we're in store for here. 4 over through 5. This is going well. All right, got a 10-mile-an-hour wind to the right. We've got a green sloping to the right. I think can just kind of do a what's called a full, which means I'm going to bring this back all the way on the C. I'm going to hit it straight. It's not quite hard enough. Okay, what do you want me to do here? It looks like we got to play. Looks like the play is it's either maybe it's over here. Could be over to this corner and then around that cliff to the left. It could be here through. I don't think it's that. So let's try this. We'll like that to be a little bit more left. Okay. So it's doable. Not easy. All right. I'm pretty happy with that. A little breathing room on this one relative to what we've been doing here. Hope to have made that a little bit closer. All right. And now we've okay, got to either curve it around from the right, we can curve it around from the left. I think with this wind, I think I'd rather not fight the wind. So I'm gonna just go around from the left. Oh boy, not my best work there. But it gives us a good opportunity to practice our chipping. 28 yards. So 5 wood's about 10 yards per click for me. So let's try this at a 3. Just a hair too much break. Yeah, so this is full train wreck mode at this point. We're just gonna get through it. 9 through 9. Not gonna quit. Four shot. Okay, what do you want from me here? I can't get to the second fairway, which means I'm either playing to one of these islands or I'm laying up entirely, which I'm not doing. Certainly not doing with the round I have here. There's no point laying up. I'm try to get to that last island there. Just barely. Okay, so I think we can I don't think there's anything we have to curve around here. It's just the wind is gonna float us back. I'm gonna hit the 9 wood. All right. Points are nice, but at this point we really need some hole outs. I'm gonna make up some strokes. All right. Got a looks like pretty level, but the green's sloping away. The 4-iron gets a lot of spin. I like it for these kind of shots specifically. So I'm just gonna push this a little bit right and hope it spins back. Not the worst, not the best. Okay. 634-yard hole. It's gonna take two good shots. If I play it left, do I have any look in? Maybe. Maybe. If I play it right, I don't see a shot there. I think I'm just gonna try this and live with whatever it turns out to be. We'll try kind of a full cut shot here. I'm gonna push this just a little bit left. Not too bad. Pretty sure I missed that. Not sure I deserve to make it. Yeah, this hole looks fairly straightforward. I guess if you were playing this regularly and you kind of knew your distances, you'd be playing that first shot to something to leave you something that you liked, but I don't really know. I don't really know what that would be. 16 through 14 is not where you want to be. I'm pretty sure of that, regardless of the course. So, all right, got to work this. We can either go, looks like there's a gap through there. I don't know what club that is, though. I don't really want to guess. I don't think. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. What the hell? Not it. That was not it. Another true two strokes lost there. Get me off of this course, please. All right, downhill, downwind. Two more. Now we can do something more fun. Hmm. It's probably some like super secret layup or super secret shot, like right here. I don't know it. Let's see. Oh, let's see what happens. What are we worried about at this point? Okay, that was not it. So much of Golden Tee is knowing where you can and can't hit it, and the people who have put in the time to master all the courses deserve those advantages. Um, and I just haven't done it. I didn't start playing till really seriously a couple years ago, so I don't know a lot of these. All right, um, downhill, anything that doesn't, it's gonna need a lot of spin. So let's just see how this turns out. Not bad. Oh, at least got 20. That's I guess that's something. File that one away in courses I'm not excited to play again soon. All right, Elkhorn. This is one that was it's an older course. I think maybe like 4 or 5 years old. Um, Reteed though for 2026, which means they kind of remaster it, give you a little bit different looks. That's kind of fun. Before we start though, I'm gonna grab another drink. I'll be right back. Hey, what did I grab? I grabbed off the shelf the Glens Creek OCD. This is the honey finished. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but this is their OCD number 5 that they finish in honey barrels. And if you've ever had any honey finished bourbon before, this is like that dialed up to 11. I mean, they want you to know there's honey in this. So it's super good, but it's super it's not subtle at all. Yeah, it is a honeycomb. Okay, so Elkhorn. Um, this one, the hole number one, your objective is, or your obstacle is these trees on the right. That's where you want to hit it, but you can't. So you've got to go either this way or this way. Um, I prefer to go this way because if I overdo it, I'm just going to end up hitting this slope on the right and it'll kind of kick back down. So we're going to click it. We're going to click it one to the right. I'm going to move it right. And then I'm going to do kind of a full full. Not bad. Not terrible. So Glens Creek is it's in near Bardstown, Kentucky, um, or maybe it's near Lexington, Kentucky. But if you ever get a chance to go there, be prepared. Um, be prepared for driving up some pretty gnarly roads. It is kind of like they claim it's a two-way road up the mountain, but it is really kind of a one-laner. So if there's anyone coming towards you, it's a pretty terrifying experience. Um, Not somewhere. I drove up there in the rain last year, and it was an experience for sure. Okay, this whole basically just gotta avoid that tree on the left. Wind's gonna push it a little right. Slope's gonna be a little right. Ideally, I'm gonna land this just behind the hole and bring it back. A little left of what I wanted. Okay, this is one you're definitely thinking about making. Just throw it behind it. Let it come back. Just didn't quite play enough wind. Hey, buddy. Play on this one is pretty much always just over here. It's not as intimidating as it looks because everything left and short pretty much slopes you onto that little fairway. So as long as you're not right, you're kind of okay here. And that leaves you a pretty straight shot into it. We could either do, so here we've got options. We could either hit kind of a soft 8.5 and try to bring it back, but it's kind of the safe play. The more aggressive play is to hit the 10.5 hard because it'll get more spin. So this is kind of the more high risk reward. Yeah, almost got it. So far, the looks have been pretty friendly. This one, you don't really have to worry about anything because you're just going over all the trees. Just get your distance right. Um, think 10.5. Just gonna push it left. Let the wind bring it back. Fine. Straight putt. All right, and this one, they've kind of given us a chippable look almost, but I'm gonna do the low gap wedge with a little release. Ideally, this lands just in front of the pin and kind of releases forward. If I hit this too hard, though, it will release into that river. Let's try to not do that. Mm. One of these is gonna fall sooner or later. It has to, right? This one we can get to the second fairway. Very straightforward hole. Just hit it hard, hit it again. Uphill, gonna get some good spin. We're gonna throw this left. Try to bring it back. Almost. So this is the first like kind of challenging look. Not challenging in the sense of it's hard to hit the green, but it's hard to get close to this pin because it's very well guarded by this mountain. The only way we're going to get close is to work something in from right to left, so a big curving shot. So that's an option. If you just want to hit the green, you could do that too. You could definitely land short on this green pretty easily. I don't, that's not going to be problematic, but I'm going to try to get something, try to get something going here. So even that was a full, and I pushed it left and it still didn't have enough. So, oh, miss putts. My favorite thing in the world. Okay, so now we're one over. Gotta find one. Big downhill. Nine wood should be plenty. Just gotta be cognizant of the spin. See, I only hit bite there, but look how far that came back because of the downhill. Just really amplifies the spin, or at least the backspin. This hole is the only objective. Well, let me check myself because I haven't seen this look, I don't think. This might be drivable. 354. Usually we're just looking to get around this last mountain down here. However, with this short look, might be thinking, I think we're thinking about driving this. So I think we just gotta move it right to left and start it between these two trees, and it should be okay. Let's see. So it's a full C, and then it's something like that. Hit the tree. Okay, but we should be fine. It's gonna be two shots if I played it the other way anyway. All right. This is like just drinking liquid honey. It's just kind of bonkers. Glens Creek does. I always say Glens Creek doesn't do anything subtly. So whatever they say it is on the label, it's that. It's not a hint of that. It is that. So this is honey for sure. I played that out to the right as far as I could to try to straighten the wind out. I'm not sure that was all that necessary, but give it a run. All right, so one over. We're still hunting. Got to get that hole out. Okay, wind's pushing us right. We don't really need to worry about anything in our way. Ideally, we want to start it over here, but we can't because of that tree. So, I mean, obviously the straightforward shot is just hit it here. He'll end up slightly right of the pin and it's an easy putt, but we've got to try to find stroke here. So I'm gonna try and curve it in a little bit. No, just a little too hard. This hole, if I remember correctly, there's kind of it depends on the tee. There's always a couple options. So there's this option. Sometimes you have to play to this little fairway here because it plays so long. That's the only thing you have. Sometimes it's this one up there. I think with this short look, we can actually get to this last fairway. So that's what we're gonna try. Okay, so we've got this is always where you get for me for my bag. This is where it gets a little dicey because it's like doesn't feel like enough for a 9 wood, but it's too much for a 6 wood. I think just be prudent, just kind of take our medicine. Can't be super aggressive with that one. It is what it is. Okay, this hole I just find very boring, but it's always just this. It's just play it here. Play your second shot. Kind of boring for a hole 14. Still almost screwed it up. Almost left that short in the bunker. All right, this one, let's see if I can remember this. It is so it's straight down the hill. We've got a outwind, so it's just a matter of clear that one tree in the middle is kind of our obstacle. With the green sloping right, I prefer to hit something moving in from right to left, so it's kind of counteracting that slope. Um, but let's see what we can do here. I'm just gonna kind of put a baby hook on this. And hopefully I get enough help from the wind because it's gonna be kind of a long shot. Kind of safe. Kind of a safe play there. These are the putts you want to kind of give a thought to and then miss. Definitely give it a thought and then miss. Don't just miss without giving a thought. That would be crazy. Who would do that? All right. Okay. This one we can either go, sometimes we can go around this way. Actually, that's probably what I will do. But there's also this little fairway here. I don't think with Cosmos, the balls that I'm playing, I get enough distance that I think this will be all right. If you're not playing that style ball, if you're playing a stout, you may not. No, it would probably still be okay. Probably still good enough distance there. Push this out right, let it spin back into the left, into the water. Not quite. Okay. Decent save, I suppose. Okay. Downhill. Huge wind off the right. Green sloping hard away from us. Um, there's a world where you could try to play kind of a full cut back into this wind. I'm not comfortable enough with those numbers to do that. So I'm gonna just play with the wind. I'm just gonna push this out a little to the right and hopefully it spins back some. So I guess fine. All right, and then hole 18, downhill, downwind, green sloping up, which is good. It'll slow the ball down. Um, Anything that lands kind of like my goal here is to make this ball kind of land. If you can see that little like cut in on the front right side of the green, if it lands there, it should kind of push forward and left. So that's what we're gonna try to do. Too hard. Still fine, but not what we were hoping for. All right, I think that was two over, three over, something over. Not clean. We don't play TPCs. That's how it's. Scablands. Haven't played that in a little bit. I guess I haven't played it in 18 days. I do enjoy this course. This is a fun one. Hopefully, I live up to that. That's what all any of us want, right? Something too fancy about hole one. Just pick a spot in the fairway you can hit and hit it. This is another one, kind of like on the last course, where I was saying it's kind of between a nine and a six wood. The aggressive play here is to hit the nine hard because then I can get more spin back toward that pin. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Terrible. Okay, no blood. All right, this one is often drivable. I'm not positive if it is right now, but we're gonna find out. Um, the only way it's gonna be drivable for me, this setup is a big slice, um, or what we call an A1 shot. So that means I'm gonna pull it all the way back to the A. I'm gonna push it all the way out to the one. That like I'll put a big hook on it or a big slice on it, I should say, and it gives it a little bit extra distance. Um, and I'm going to do backspin to give myself a little bit more carry. Just a little bit too far to the right. However, this is a very makeable chip. Um, so let's do that. Three clicks with a five wood. So I'm not positive if that's golden tee par, eagle or not. It probably is. Like there's probably a way to have gotten to that green. So you could so I would say I'm probably one over at this point. Those are ones where it's kind of like 50-50 though. You don't feel like you necessarily had to have gotten it, but you would have liked to. Okay, this one I'm just gonna leave naked. I'm not gonna put any spin on it. I'm gonna let the green hopefully push it a little to the right. Hit it too hard. Maybe like a 105 or so. Would have been good there. These early holes you want to be aggressive because these are the holes where you're gonna pick up strokes. Typically, these are the easiest. they're not getting easier after this. So um, definitely want to give yourself a chance to make some of these and have an advantage going into the later holes. Okay, be aggressive here. It's uphill, so I got to hit a little harder. It is into the wind. That's not really going to matter. Okay, right distance. Just didn't push it out enough. Okay. The trick here is, I mean, it's not really a tricky hole, but the trick is obviously kind of a shallow landing area. So whatever you do, you just want to make sure you don't get a huge bounce. Um, I'm gonna try to hit this 10.5 kind of hard with bite, and we'll see where that ends up. Not bad. As easy as that hole looks, that's one where I've definitely bled strokes before because you can easily leave it short in that front bunker, and then you're kind of in a bad spot. Okay, I don't know if this is drivable. It should be drivable. 410 downwind. This should be drive. Definitely should be drivable. So we're gonna give that a shot. Hit it clean. Yeah, plenty of distance. Secured the eagle. Slightly uphill, slightly into the wind. Nothing to it. I'm I'm excited tonight to watch this Michigan State basketball game. It's at Breslin. It would be very entertaining for me if the Spartans lost on their home court. Not a Michigan fan, but much more not a Michigan State fan. Okay. Downhill, downwind. Just don't want to really at this point you just don't want to like kick it too far forward and leave it in the water on the backside. Pretty safe. A lot of times safe is good though. Hmm. I played this course a lot. I don't remember what the play is on this. What? Uh, Usually you can get down to one of these second two fairways. um, I actually still might try that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try that still. Anything that ends up right is gonna should kick off that cliff just like that. Okay, that'll work. It's downhill. It's the 4 iron. It doesn't fly as far as you think. So I gotta hit this probably like 115, but it should spin a lot. So hopefully it'll come back toward the hole. harder than I wanted, but it was actually pretty good. Boy, this almost feels drivable. And with this just being a fun night, we're gonna try it. It is gonna be close. Let's see. Never a doubt. 0% doubt. It's the butt. Eee. Attaboy. So we're definitely one over at this point, if we weren't before. This is kind of an awkward hole because you have to fly all the way to the hole or it'll hit this kind of rock face and it'll shoot forward into the water. But you can't fly it too far, or else obviously then you're going to land in the water. So ideally, we're going to try to land this kind of like slightly right of the pin and toward the back of the green and let this spin back. Didn't hit it hard enough. Let's get down there. That was that kick I was referring to. Okay, opportunity for a chip in. With this elevation, I'm going to hit the 9 wood just to get it up. Make sure I don't clip this rough. I play this about 8 per click. I'm going to give it 1 extra for the uphill. So I'm going to do this 5. Huh. I must have still, I didn't look up fast enough to see that, but I must have still clipped that rough, that bank, unfortunately. So tough hole. Not tough hole. Tough play of that hole. You guys are familiar with the word tilt? That's where I'm at right now. Got to focus. Still, wind's pushing left to right. Green's pushing right to left. Prefer to hit a little bit more loft here, so I'm going to go down to the 5. Give it a run. These short par threes are always the toughest in my opinion because it's just you gotta play, especially toward the end of the round. There's so much wind. It's definitely not going to be the gap wedge. Why don't we try something crazy because we're already like 150 strokes over par. Almost. So you got options here. It depend to me it depends on the wind. So this wind I wanna if I can, I wanna try to get down to this bottom fairway because it's going to be a straighter wind in. I don't know. It doesn't matter at this point. Get there. Nope. Okay, heavy rough. This is what you wanted to avoid, especially with that tucked pin back there. Heavy rough gets no spin, really, to speak of. So I mean, if I were playing for anything, I'd just be trying to hit kind of the right finger of the screen. But given the way this round has gone, and I'm not playing for anything, I'm gonna try to land it on this little knoll and see if it'll hop down to the green. See how that goes. Almost. Not quite enough. Not enough. Save the chip at least. Show my face. This hole I actually kind of like to play back. Give myself a little bit longer club in. Just find it's a little bit, gives you a little bit flatter angle in and a little bit better chance of going in, which at this point we desperately need. Too short. Hey, Michael, getting through it. Thanks for joining. This, this hole, I have lost more strokes on this hole than maybe any other hole in Golden Tee. It's just, it is just tough for me. Um, and we've got an outwind, which makes it even harder. So this green's sloping hard away from us. Got an outwind, which is going to take some of the spin off of it. At this point, what I'm trying to do with this whole shot is just land it on this very front edge of the screen and hope that it stays somewhere on the green. I will take that 7 days out of 7. At least I have this delicious OCD honey finish. Keep my spirits high. All right, got the tough look on this one too. There are looks on this hole where it's just straight and you don't, there's really nothing to do. But this is not it. I'm gonna try. I don't know. My worry here is staying under this branch. I don't know if the low five wood does, but we will find out here together. It does not. So we now know that. All right. Wait, for a course I like a lot, I sure made a mess of that one. All right. See what we get next. Do five taps and see where that lands us. Nope. Okay, dodge. Dodge was notoriously one of the easiest courses. It might be the second most scoreable course in Golden Tee. It's up there at least. Top five. So this is one where if I make a mistake, you can absolutely clown me. No excuse for mistakes on this course. Should be shooting 29 under minimum. Okay, there is a drivable look on number one. Don't have it here, so our goal here is again straighten out the wind. So we're gonna try to hit this as far straight as possible so that our next shot is going straight with the wind, which right now is right to left. Uh, yeah, Michael, what are some of the old courses you like? You want to see a specific course next? I'm happy to do one. Okay, so we've got a pretty straight wind here, 8 iron. Let's hit a little release. Let's be aggressive with this. Ah, just a hair. Okay, two, nothing really to it. On this course, where you see this kind of like super textured brown color, that is, I think they call it they call it heavy sand or anyway, whatever it is, it plugs your ball. So if you land in that stuff, you're stopping there. You're not going to kick forward onto the green or anything. So something to keep in mind on this course. You can play out of it, but like I said, you're not gonna be able to like kick out of it. Very makeable look here. Um, we're gonna go ahead and do. I think we're gonna do a low T 9 iron. Take a little distance off of it. Take a little wind off of it. Backspin. It should land toward basically where that cursor is right now, and it should scoot back toward the hole. Hopefully, almost got it. Bonnie Moore. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll do that right. We'll do that right after this one. I like that one. Do you mean the Bonnie Moore? Type in if you mean the Bonnie Moore from a couple years ago, if you mean like the really old Bonnie Moore. There's two courses I can think of that you might mean. All right. This one I always pretty much always lay up to this little finger in the fairway. And then it's typically a long shot in, but nothing too challenging. Just push it a little left with this wind. I think this course is the course that I got my first ever 30 under par, which in Golden Tee is kind of like a milestone. Um, your first 30 is kind of like a big deal when you're coming up and you're learning how to play. It's one of those things where once you get your first one, though, you kind of feel like the lid's off, and you kind of they kind of seem to come fast and furious after that. But after that, it's so hard to get that first one. All right, let's be aggressive with this. It's uphill into the wind. We're gonna hit release. A little too aggressive. Well, this is a pretty generous look. So a lot of times the tee is over to the left, and have that big tree to negotiate. This one we really don't need to worry about this tree at all, um, especially with this wind. It's going to push us left anyway. This isn't one that I'm going to be super aggressive with because I still want to respect that tree, but it's much easier than it can be. So I'm just going to kind of angle this just a hair left, let the wind do the rest of it. Yeah, Bonnie Black is the recent one. There is an older one, I think. Um, I'll go through those carousel after this and see. I'll probably just play the newer one though, because I think it's almost the same course. It's just remastered, if I'm not mistaken. All right, this hole it looks more intimidating than it is. You can get over this barn with pretty much any club. So it's just a matter of like sometimes sometimes the tee is far enough up to where you can push it all the way up that fairway. But from here we're just gonna try and kind of hit it to the end of this first fairway. And this shot just straightforward. Just avoid that bunker if you can. I may have just put it right in that bunker I told you to avoid. And not quite. So 2 click 5 iron, straightforward. This hole is um this is a more challenging look because it's a little bit longer. And the reason why that makes it more challenging is because with a longer wood, we're not going to get as vertical of a descent. And we really need to clear that barn and then come down pretty straight after it. So with that in mind, I'm going to drop down to a 5 wood, even though it really calls for a 4 wood, because I want the elevation. I want to get this as high as possible. I got to push this a little bit left. I don't want to go high T because if I go high T, I'm giving away all my spin and I could end up in that pond behind pretty easily. So we'll see how this goes. May have hit that too hard. Not quite. It's fine. I'm gonna put very short look here. Um, I carry the super spin gap wedge, so I can get a ton of backspin on a shot like this. Maybe even too much, but we'll see. So I'm gonna just give myself a little bit of buffer to the left because of this wind. I'm gonna drop down to a low T because I don't need it to go any further than it's gonna go with this wind. And then hopefully this lands very near the back edge of the green and it'll rip hard back toward the hole. Give it a shot. I think that was a clean front. This hole, very straightforward. Just hit it, hit it twice. Nothing to this hole. Kind of a boring one. The only thing to keep in mind on this hole is that it's uphill, so you got to hit it a little bit harder than you think. Um, so I'm gonna try to hit this probably about 120, maybe, just slightly right to allow the wind and the slope to push it back toward the hole. Got him. Email, so you guys don't all have my phone number. Not that I don't want you to have my phone number. Okay, this hole is okay. We have a very favorable look, but oftentimes this hole is a little bit tricky. If you don't have this wind, or even if you do have this wind, you could play it to this end of this fairway right here, and then you usually have enough distance to get it there. If that's not an option, there is a play up on this green here. If you line it up, you can hit it through that hole in the barn. However, with this wind being an outwind and a short look, we don't have to worry about any of that. We're just gonna hit it past everything. Okay. Downhill green, outwind. This is one you could think about making. Almost. I'm gonna have another pour of that OCD. This is a small one. This hole, okay, so we've really lucked out on this setup because a lot of times, almost every time, this pin will be on this it's hard, maybe hard to see on the flyby here, but there's a elevated section of the screen in the center. Pin's usually there, and it's very hard to stick it. On this look, it's not. So we've got green light special to just go at this. Um, However, with the wind pushing right, I'm actually going to try to land on that center part and let it roll off to the right. Pushed a little further right than I wanted to, but it almost worked out. Margin for error. Yeah, Michael, at 17 handicap, what would you say is your what do you think is the thing that's holding you back from that next step or that next like level of breaking 20 handicap? This whole I didn't talk about it off the tee, but the only thing you really want to worry about is just not having this tree here in your way on the second shot. This isn't one we're going to get super aggressive with because the green is pushing, green's pushing right, the wind's pushing right. I'm going to be pretty happy with anything just pin high and right here. Give myself a straight up the hill putt. This hole is very similar to the hole we played earlier. It's just a matter of making sure we clear that barn, but come down vertically enough that we're not going to run off into that pond behind. The wind is going to help us a lot on this. The wind is very favorable because it's pushing back into us and off the right. So I'm actually just going to, ideally, this ball lands kind of like on that right lobe of the green. and it should, with the wind and the slope, either kind of stay there or just push down toward the hole. I'm gonna leave it no spin. Almost a little too aggressive. Cut shots, specifically on par fours. Okay. What ball do you typically play, Michael? You playing a stout or a Cosmo or something else? I can kind of go through some of the basics of the cut shots that might help. Okay, so we talked about on hole one, we talked about how that dark brown stuff is the surface. I can't remember. On this hole, we want to land in it. So we're trying to land in the dark brown, just beyond where my cursor is. That's good. And it is dirt. They call it dirt. The dirt plays um, comes out flat, but the nice thing about it is it tells you. So like my 5 wood normally goes 250. It's telling me here my 5 wood's going to go 188. So it already does the calculation kind of for me. And all I gotta do is just account for the wind coming off the right. The screen sloping left too. So let's go ahead and just hit maybe I'm gonna leave it naked, I think. So when you're playing off some of those odd surfaces, you really got to kind of think about letting it letting the ball roll more, right? So it's not like hitting off the fairway where you can just kind of stop it. You got to allow for a lot more rollout. So again, we've got a very favorable look here. This hole can be a bear. This is not one of those looks. This is a pretty easy one. Um, we've got an outwind up the hill. This is not one where I'm looking to be super aggressive. Anything where I can get a putt at it, I'm pretty happy with. I'm gonna just kind of push this 6 wood out to the right. Enough. Okay, so we got 31 in our sights here. We can Eagle 18, which is again another favorable look. So we got into a pretty easy setup here. This is not what you would always see on this course for sure. The only thing we're worried about on this look is this water tower on the right. As long as we can avoid that, we are in good shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit a 5 wood, I think. Give myself a little bit extra height. And in my mind, I'm trying to start this just over the left center of that water tower and let the wind push it a little bit. Okay. That was cleanish. Okay, Cosmos mainly. Cool. Yeah, so I will try to talk a little bit more on the next round when I play Bonnie about some of the cuts and what I'm thinking on those. I'll try to play more cuts than I would normally. So I can remember where Bonnie is on the old screen here. Bonnie Black. Here we go. Fun course, very fun course. 17 is a beast almost always, but um is what it is. All right, 27's the score to beat. Looks like I played this a couple days ago. 27. Okay. So off hole one, there's maybe a good chance to illustrate a cut just off the bat, right, with low stakes because it doesn't really matter too much where we end up here. So if we see my cursor, I kind of want to end up around here, right? Um, there's a couple of like there's a couple of things we know off the bat. So there's what we call the two click cut. So if I move, so I'm here, I want to hit it here. If I move two clicks to the right, and then if I pull back as far as I can to the C, so I'm pulling back straight on that C, and I want to hit it straight on the two, that's going to come back pretty close to where I started. Now it's a little right of where I started because the wind was pushing right. But you can kind of like frame of reference, general rule, two clicks and a full C or a full A toward the two, that's going to come back pretty much to where you started usually. So that's what we call a full. On this shot, so we've just got a straight up the hill 5-iron into the wind. Almost. Those fulls are nice because they're very reliable. What we want to find is like we want to find shots that take variables out of play. What's hard to what's hard to do is like these it's like kind of the little baby cuts. Those are like very feel based and they're not as repeatable. Those full cuts are very repeatable. They always do the same thing. They do vary a little by club, but within a club they will always do the same thing. So that's why those are ones we like. On this one, I'll hit another cut here. I normally would just hit this straight, but I'll hit another cut here to demonstrate. So we just talked about the two cut or the two click cut. Um, we have a one click cut too. So my cursor right here is kind of middle of the green. If I go one left, I'm gonna go high T and backspin. Not that that matters, but I'm gonna go all the way back on the A, and then I'm gonna push it out towards the one, and that will pretty much come back to one click. So so two clicks would be kind of back towards C or A and then straight forward. One click would be back towards C or A and then out towards one or three. So those are two that are very reliable. You can kind of keep those in mind. So there's another good opportunity to illustrate a cut. Um, with a let's say with a 9-iron, if you have a crosswind that's 10 miles an hour, then our two click cut, so our full C to two or our full A to two, works off of one click. So in other words, the 10-mile-an-hour wind will negate one of the clicks. So before we were going click, click, and then C2 would come back. But since we've got a wind, we can actually um, go one click, and I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna bring this back because I don't need that much distance, and I'm gonna move it this way actually because I'm basing this off 10 and I only have 7 miles an hour of wind. But if I click once, right, and now if I do a full C to two, it ends up pretty much directionally what we wanted. So those are something to keep in mind. So like 9-iron for that is about 10 miles per hour and it goes, so like if you were like 8-iron, it might be like 9 miles per hour. It goes down as the loft goes down, if that makes sense. So the wind does a little bit less. That's all we just want to get over these bunkers if we can. Not really a cut shot opportunity here. I'm just gonna try and get a little aggressive with this. Hmm. Okay, drivable look here. Um, our wind is pushing the same way as our green, which is nice. So really, we want to just kind of stop this middle of the green pin high-ish and let the slope and the I'm gonna put bite on this. The slope and the bite push it toward the hole. Quite hard enough. Another drivable look down the hill into the wind. I think we can be aggressive here. I'm gonna leave no spin. Bad pullback. When you get kind of like those, so whenever you do a slight cut like that, it takes distance off. So I didn't mean to do a cut there, obviously, um, but I did, and that's why it came up a little short. Nice. You got a PGA Home Edition or a Legacy? I assume PGA if you just got it. Okay. For Michael, I'm gonna try this. I wouldn't normally. Just to illustrate a cut. So the safe play here is just to play it somewhere to where it's just gonna come down left of this pin. With the green sloping that way, the only way to get it close is a big cut. So why not try that? So come back because I've got the helping wind. I go 2 clicks. I'm gonna go pull. All right, not the best, but PGA, nice. Yeah, I upgraded from a Legacy to a PGA earlier this, or I guess it would have been like last fall. Enjoying it quite a bit. This hole, this look, you can just hit it over everything. There is a longer look where you have to actually hit like it's a kind of awkward shot, but you have to hit kind of like a low 8.5 degree driver that ramps up this hill. But we don't have to worry about that here. I think just gonna hit it over everything. Yep. Uh, Michael, you ever watch on Golden Tee YouTube channel any of the tournaments? They're doing a tournament in just outside of Orlando this weekend. That's a really good way to learn new shots too. So watch those tournaments. I play in a lot of them, but I'm not playing in this one, obviously. Whoops. That was a really poor shot. Should have pushed that out much farther left. I'm gonna grab something else to drink. I will be right back. On with the this year's Remus Gatsby Reserve, 103 proof. Only had like one pour out of this bottle. Okay, where were we? This hole, um, pretty straightforward. Hit it up the fairway, hit it again. Uh, Up the hill. This is one so with the uphill with the green sloping right with the wind pushing left, this is one I'm thinking about trying to make. This is one you want to be aggressive with. It just was not a very good effort. Undercalculated the wind on that one. Another very straightforward hole. All right, this is one where we could think about hitting a little cut in. I'm going to demonstrate a little bit different style of a cut. Um, okay, it's uphill. It's uphill, so maybe not the best demonstration. But what I'm going to try to do here is just take off the wind. So pay attention. If you pay attention to the shot meter when I hit here, what I'm doing is I'm going to just try to pull it just slightly right of the B. And then I'm going to try to hit it just straight forward. And what that'll do is it'll curve it. It'll start it straight and it'll curve it just enough to where it will fight that wind. So you'll see there I kind of just pulled it just slightly right of the B. If it were the opposite wind, I would have pulled it just slightly left of the B. But those shots where you just pull it back enough on the side to fight the wind and then hit it straight so it starts straight, those are very helpful because you don't lose the distance like you do on those baby cuts. This hole we just want to hit in this fairway and or this little patch here and not be too close to that fescue. If you're too close to it, you won't be able to hit over it. And we can be aggressive here, the downhill. Not quite dialed in on the wind today. Yeah, trying to replicate Luna's and Haas's shots are tough. I would agree with that. There's a group of guys that play in those tournaments, and Luna, Haas, Gossett, Paul Taylor, Mark Goma. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's so impressive to watch what they can do. And it's even more impressive when you're in person. Like they're all so nice too. That's the other thing. It's like they're just the nicest guys. I just wish they weren't so good at Golden Tee. Give some of the rest of us a chance. Okay, I'm gonna try and cut this one back against the wind a little bit. Not the worst, not the best. And you missed the putt. Attaboy. All right. Okay, this look is a little unusual. A lot of times you're playing over here. Um, when this one we're just gonna try and get as far up this fairway as we can. Up the hill. All right. What are we? One over through 15, I think. One over? I think we're only one over. I missed putt. You've got options from this look. You can play it down here. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more aggressive, give myself a shorter look in, and play up this smaller fairway, hopefully. Soul's always kind of a beast though, because even when you hit a good drive, you still are left with a tricky, tricky second shot, especially with this wind. I am gonna just be very conservative here. Just give my the only goal here is just putt. Give myself a putt. That worked out pretty well. So this is the hole I was talking about before. 17's always a beast. They've got this I got this bunker in the middle. Um we've got short, meaning that the wind is gonna play a lot because we're playing a lofted club. For me personally, I'm right between clubs. 70 that wedge is maybe that's what I'll hit, but I don't love it. Maybe I had a low maybe I had a low 9 iron. Pretty poor shot. And now you're left with a chip where if I don't make this, I am adding at least 2 strokes because I'm going in that bunker. Not even close. Hit the pin and came back to my feet. That's fun. All right. So that hole happened. Gave up 3 strokes there. Okay. Into the wind, drivable, green sloping hard to the right. I'm going to try and hit this fairly hard and just let it, I want it to kind of land on the left side of the green, kind of skid with a bite and push to the right. Sort of that, but not quite. All right, Michael, have a good night. Thanks for watching, buddy. Sandy Reef. I gotta say, for the price of this Gatsby, I just don't. I guess maybe I don't get it. It's very much fine. It's a I mean, not supposedly. It is a 15-year-old. It's a 15-year-old, 103 proof. It's supposed to be the flagship release from these guys, but I don't know. I don't I don't think it's fantastic. It's certainly not worth the price that you pay for it. All right. Sandy Reef. Hole number one. See if we got a punch shot option. I think we do. It was there. Just missed it. Punch shot is, I think, is a great addition to the game for 2026. It's very helpful on a lot of approach shots. Sandy Reef. I want to say I'm really bad with the courses and the years, but I want to say Sandy Reef was one of the current courses when I started playing Golden Tee. Um, it's one I remember very well in terms of the pain of missing many shots. I was just learning this game, but it's not one I play a lot in terms of going back to. I'm not sure why. Okay, so this is kind of our first sign of adversity, I suppose you could say. Um, but with this look, pretty easy. I think we can still just go over with a high five wood. A little too hard. Another 6-9 wood gap. Ooh, ultra shot. That doesn't happen too often. I don't remember the last time I had an ultra. Ultra is where, if you don't know, ultra is where it goes straight in the hole without landing on without hitting anything else first. So that's pretty cool. All right, this hole. We want to be, if we can, we want to be in this, like, in the second part of this middle fairway. I don't know if that's really an option here. So I'm gonna play to the short finger, and then we're all gonna find out together if that's enough. So I landed in the rough, so I'm losing a club at least. So if I had landed in the fairway, it would have been totally fine. 8.5 out of the rough is not going to get high enough. It's going to just dive into the water. So I need to hit the 10.5 hard. And I'm just trying to get to the middle of the green if I can. Take that. My Add my shot to YouTube there. Ultra will be probably a celebrity by the morning. I don't know if I'm ready for that, but I don't know if you can be ready. You just have to accept it when it comes your way. I don't remember if this works or not. I think just gonna try to hit 9 wood and try to get through that middle gap. And it went too far. It worked though. So from here, um, so it's 10 for me. It's 10 yards per click with a 5 wood. So this would be 6. I'm gonna give it one extra because it's coming out of the heavy rough. So I'm gonna do 7. Let's push a little right. Those are the shots I have to clean up. I mean, for me to move into the next level of Golden Tee, I missed too many of those. All right. So we can go 8 iron here, I think. 2 clicks. Don't love it, but I think it'll work. All right, on this hole, with this wind, pretty straightforward. We're just gonna hit it to that second fairway. The wind's gonna push us back far enough so we can actually avoid all these trees. You can stay games on. I need to turn on my phone here. No sound, of course. It's like Michigan's up 11-5. Just started. Okay, this hole. Do we have a play? I don't see a play under. Probably. Maybe. Maybe. Um, let's try around. Bounce. All right, we got a putt. Okay, so this is something people may not know if you haven't played a lot of Golden Tee. When you're over about 80 feet, um, you kind of get like a boost on your putts. So the break play is about half of what it normally does. So left two, I'm gonna play this like left one. Probably still miss it anyway, but just wanted to call that out. All right, on this hole we can do. Let's see what we can do. We can do. We can play here. We can play. Can we play here? Not really. I think it's this. I think it's just play to one of these islands. Okay. Whoa. We can blame that on the whiskey if we want to. I'm going to. All right. Wind pushing left, green sloping left. This is green light special. We're trying to just land this behind the hole, bring it back. I'm actually pretty surprised that didn't get a little bit more backspin. With the uphill, I thought I would get more backspin, but the downwind does take backspin off, so I just kind of got the trade-off a little wrong on that one. Okay, downhill, downwind. We are just looking for a putt here. 15-5 for the old Wolverines. All right, what we got here? This one we can typically play up into the sand. That's usually the play. Um, the only thing I'm a little worried about is this wind. This wind is a little tough. That being said, I don't know that I see a better option. I don't think. Maybe it's over here. I've never played over here. Let's try that. I'm gonna try and get into this sand or rough up this way. Gives me a little bit straighter wind. Not bad. This hole I never really figured out the right play. There's definitely I'm confident in saying that there is a play where you can drive the screen reliably. I just don't know what it is. I didn't wasn't playing seriously enough when this course came out to have known that, and I haven't played it with enough better players since then to learn it. So for me, it's just kind of a layup hole. Okie dokie. Ooh, this is a pretty tough look. So we've got wind hard off the left and out, and we've got a strong downhill green. So our really what we either have to cut it back into this wind, or we have to land it way like in this back left corner, which doesn't seem super reliable. So I think we're gonna try and cut this. So we're gonna do a bite. I'm gonna do about that. And then kick it forward. Not bad. Not bad at all. Finally gonna make this chip. Okie dokie. Number 17. Wind is our foe here. Wind is pushing hard off the left. We could play it. We could just play the wind straight. And what I mean by that is just aim left, right? And maybe that's the play. Um, There's part of me that wants to cut it back in, but I'm not sure that gets me a whole lot of benefit. So I think I'm just gonna do a high 5 wood and try to get the wind right. Not quite. So I played a little more wind than I needed to. Downhill, I'm gonna do this as 3 clicks. Normally it's four. That's a bad miss. Really ought to made that one. Okay. Wind hard off the right. I can play it up here, but then I've got a really awkward shot in. I think I think the play that I want to do here is just get into the as far right on this little cutout as I can, because then I can use the wind to my advantage in the second shot. Maybe. I don't know. This is just a hard shot. Yeah, this is just a hard shot. Very happy with that. All right, 26. I can't remember offhand. I know I missed at least one. I'm sure I missed more than that. Yeah, I missed one on 7. I got one on 5. So I don't know. Maybe maybe par was 28. Something I got to do a better job of remembering. All right, let's do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A coma. All right. So current year course. the most scoreable current year course, par is always 30. I believe par is always 30. So, um, anything worse than 30 is where you can tell me I suck, and we will see how that goes. Number one is just we're trying to give ourselves a look at a chip. That was not it. I wanted to be way further right than that. So already off the bat, feeling like that was not a good start. Boy, we are we are really having some interesting looks here. Stop. Big chip. That was not an easy one for me, and needed to have it. And these easy courses, so a lot of people think like they like the easy courses, which is fine. But what you have to remember is it's easy for everybody. So like if you screw up, if I miss that on number two, like I'm giving one away to everybody. That's why I kind of prefer the harder courses because it gives you a little bit more margin for error. Dang, Wolverines are up 18-7. They used to burn couches in East Lansing when they would lose, but I don't know. Maybe couches got too expensive or something. They don't do that anymore. Maybe they just don't expect to win anymore. Kick forward. All right, not bad. This hole is always just 10 and a half high over. Depending on the wind, you might do roll, you might do bite, you might do whatever, but it's always just 10 and a half over. Up the hill, this is one we're thinking about making. Not even close. That was an embarrassing shot. To be honest. Sorry about that. Phone call. All right, here we go. Another one we are definitely thinking about making here. With the wind pushing that way, we're just gonna need to push it a little bit left. And I forgot to put backspin on it. Oh, so that happened. All right, this one now on these new tees is just hit it as hard as you can. Just stay in the fairway. Not much to it. And then we fortunately got a pretty straight wind here. So let's see if we can redeem ourselves from the last hole. Actually, put the correct spin on it. Oh, got the right spin. Just missed it. Oh well. So this hole I actually really like the redesign on, or the new tee, I should say. Um, Pretty fun now. It's very makeable. So we're gonna do, we could do a 5 wood. I think we're gonna do 4 wood backspin, push it out a little right, and we'll just make it. I mean, there's really no reason to putt if you don't have to. So I would just say as a general rule, if you can make a shot, just make it. So pretty. Okay, and this one, I've recently started seeing this tee box where you can't get to the second fairway. So it's just a matter of playing it kind of like left, as left and far as you can. Just don't want to get too close to those trees. This should still get there, even with the wind into us. They made it, I think they made that one slightly harder, but it's still very doable. So I think we have a one better, I think we have one better front nine. Another drivable one. This always was drivable, but it used to be from the right side of this green. Um, my only concern here, I don't know for sure if my 8.5 degree driver carries will clear that dune, but we're gonna find out. Clears it no problem. It just didn't take any wind at all, so stayed up to the right. Three clicker, got it. Okay, this hole, depending on where the pin and the wind are, there's two plays. You can play it to this corner. You just gotta be in the fairway, or you can play it up in the sand. For this look, I'm gonna play up in the sand. You can see I have a pretty straight wind in. Um, I don't need to worry about spinning it, so I'm just gonna push this a little left. Ooh, okay. All right. Got a couple full outs. All right. Downwind, or I'm sorry, downhill into the wind. Just gonna push this out a little bit. Good enough. Strong left to right wind. If this lands somewhere where my cursor is with that wind, it should push hard right with backspin. So that's my goal. I'm gonna push this a little bit left. Ah, still a little too hard. This hole is um now pretty much always the same play, which is just try to hit it over top of this first dune, and it will kick down to the fairway. Uphill, downwind. This hole is so this is a pretty easy look for this hole, but this hole has cost me so many strokes. This hole kept me out of the gold bracket in the tournament in Dallas um, in December. So got some bad blood here. I think if I just hit this with bite, not too hard, push it a little left, should be safe. Yeah, good enough. I actually think that this look is quite a bit easier than the former one, where the tee was off further to the left or to the right, I should say. Um, it's quite a bit easier from this new one. This hole, we want to try to be up on this hill. So I pushed that too far left. Actually, it might be blocked out. Um, we want to be on that hill to the right. So we want to be up there. I think we're okay. Do this. Um, actually might play to our benefit being in the rough. Kick forward. There we go. So not to jinx anything, but we're on a 32 pace right now. If I birdie 17 and eagle 18, that's a 32, which is two better. Oh, yeah. So at this point, I just have to not screw it up. This is alternate. Let's go. Let's go. Two ultras in one day. I haven't had an ultra in like 6 months, or maybe more. Wow. That's cool. All right, we're on 33 pace. Let's go. Don't let off the gas. All right. 18 is a very straightforward par four. It is just get it over this hill. The only thing we are worried about is the height. So I'm going to take care of that with a high tee. I'm going to hit bite. And I think if I hit this like 120, should be perfect. I hit it 120 and it was short. Oh no. All right. Well, collect ourselves. We'll make this for 32. Oh, all right. So 25 is 466. So it's a six click. Ouch. That is that's a tough finish. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose. All right. I'm gonna go watch the rest of this basketball game. Thanks everybody for watching. Sorry I didn't pay off this round, but that's what you get. Catch you guys later.